Welcome back to the AndroidVirus Sean Show / podcast. I am AndroidVirus. I got Sean on the line, and we got the beautiful. Hey, Sean, and we got the beautiful, awesome Gen Padova. What's up, Jen?
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. So a little bit of background about Jen, adult film actress, food blogger. I made the mistake earlier of calling her, would I call you a food coach or some stupid shit like that?
A health coach. It was funny. It's okay. It's just funny.
Yeah, it was funny. But you've been doing your thing since '99. You got 300 films under your belt. And what amazed us and what drew us to you is you graduated from UCLA with a bachelor's degree, a science degree, and majoring in biochemistry, and a bachelor of visual arts. And you completed your education, a 4-year program studying. Let me say this correctly: naturopathic medicine, right?
Perfect. There
we go. Yeah, I did graduate high school. Not only that, Jen's a Pilates and yoga licensed massage therapist, specializing in rehabilitative therapy as a neuromuscular as a re-education. See, I just fucked up again. It's all good. So, yeah, and also, in addition to your food blogging, AVN's 2014 awards nominee for Best Solo Girl website. Awesome. So, welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you.
So if anybody wants to call in,
I just did morning for you, so I do a lot.
It's all good. If anybody wants to call in and talk, 619-924-0762. I'm sure you got some fans that might call in, may not call in. Not sure. But we opened up with a little bit of Alice in Chains just because, and / Nirvana. I don't know if you're a part of that generation.
Nirvana?
The Nirvana. Yeah, like Nirvana, Alice in Chains generation thing.
That was high school. Beginning of high school.
Well, it's 20 years since. Yeah, I know. Well, it's 20 years since they died, like this weekend.
Oh no! Don't remind me. It makes me feel old.
It was 20 years ago, so that's why we kind of opened up with that, and we didn't know if you were into that, so we're huge into that. But
oh yeah, let me tell you, in high school I was wearing tie-dye t-shirts or band t-shirts with a flannel over that, the grunge style, and then I would wear skirts and tights underneath. It was hilarious.
That is funny. Well, we all went through our weird little stages, I'm sure, Real quick, just to take a little side turn, we are promoting a good friend of mine. He works out and trains out of the MMA gym that I guess you could say I kind of work at. Ray Borg. He is fighting tonight live on Access TV, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're local here Mountain Time, it comes on at 8 o'clock. We bought some ice on his shorts, so we're pimping him. He's a good dude. I like him, and he's always shocked by my Instagram account, which is great. I love it. Thank you for being shocked. But good luck to you tonight, Ray. I hope you do well. This is like your third pro fight or whatever the case may be. So he was going to call in tonight, but I'm sure his mind is somewhere else when you're getting ready to fight. So, you much into MMA, Jen?
I will be honest. I don't know much about it. Although, if it comes to watching sports, I don't mind watching it. Or something like ice hockey, something that's kind of fast-paced and interesting.
There you go. Basketball, different stuff like that.
Things like that, yeah. Baseball is a little too close.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching paint go off the wall. That's what I think of baseball.
Yeah.
So,
come on.
Sean loves baseball.
Well, it's a lot. Look, I'll admit, I will flat out admit that they have way too many games a season, like 163 or whatever. It needs to drop, down to a more reasonable, even in half. But I enjoy it, man. It's fun. Plus, being a Red Sox fan, it's all good. It's a love-hate thing.
So Jen, I'm gonna get into it here real quick with you, and what drew. Well, I mean, obviously we're fans, right? We watch adult films and whatnot, and we're men. That's what some men do, and you know, some men have to hide it from their wives. Men like me, my wife's like, hey, you can jerk off as long as you're giving it to me, which is awesome of my wife. Yeah, she's great. She's like, just what?
She's a
I said that is awesome.
Yeah, she is a trooper. She has came on the show, and she's an awesome woman who is very open. Now, if I read, I know you haven't really put it out there, but I do seem to, I guess, read your Facebook posts, and since you know we're friends now, and you're in a relationship, if I'm correct, right?
I'm married.
You're married.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Crazy.
So, yeah, well, see, this is a question that I'm sure has been asked, but like that every, I guess you could say, guy wants to know. How does that work in your relationship with you being an adult film actress? And are you still active in the? I mean, I know you have your website, but I mean, as far as filming movies and whatnot, are you still active in that?
I stopped working for other companies in 2007. I started medical school in 2006, and I thought I was able to juggle the two, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. So by 2007, I pulled back and decided to become exclusive with my website instead. And ever since, I've stuck with that. Now that I'm done with medical school, I'm able to put more time into my website. So I've done that full time and full throttle the last, I would say, about year and a half, almost 2 years. So no, I don't work for other companies anymore, and I have not done hardcore as far as working with other men. But there is a lot of unseen content that I have done over the years that no one has seen that gets released on my website, in addition to a lot of the new stuff that I release each month.
Okay. Now, how I mean, so you work with women still, or do you do your shows and you work with women, but you don't work with men anymore? No.
Okay.
All right.
But I've been married for almost 4 years now, and it's actually kind of funny. He was kind of a fan of mine, almost I think about 10 years, and we've kind of maintained an online friendship for a long time. And I almost kind of forgot about him. He had his life, I had my own life, and we would keep in touch every so often, off and on. And I never really thought of him as, I guess, a fan, so to speak. Every time we would communicate, it was kind of like I've known this guy forever, and that doesn't happen very often. So eventually, he happened to be in San Diego for business and visiting a friend, and I was down there to work on my residency at a hospital, and we met. and life was history from that point. So he's extremely supportive. Yeah. You got
to be like, me and my wife was telling me about how you got to be I guess a strong guy to handle a woman, you know, who I guess you could say is in that type of industry. It's funny that, you know, it's nothing compared to, like, you know, what you do, but me and my wife have always talked, and we always, like, joke around. It's like, oh, you were a slut in high school. She goes, I know, I was such a dirty girl in high school. And I was like, but it doesn't bother me, like, it at all. Like, it's just, you have to find somebody who's really accepting, and if you know what you're getting into as far as a relationship is concerned, he's got to be.
He is. It's really, I don't know, it's really interesting. I mean, like, being a quote-unquote slut is kind of, you know, for man and woman, it is in some ways kind of part of human nature and the whole process of discovering your sexuality and finding out what you want and don't want and things like that. So don't think it's really fair to fault anybody for going through that phase. And you know, for me, I never got to be that slut in high school, and so I made up for that by doing porn.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I was a virgin all through high school. Yeah.
Well, and I don't, you know, I know, I hope you're, you know, if you're trying to sell, obviously you're selling your persona, right? And you know, who knows, you know, when you get into a lot of these sites, like some people are kind of put a story out that may or may not be true. For you, you're a really open, out there person. So I tend to believe that it is true about you were a virgin. And you lost your virginity at the age of 20?
Yes. And you know, a lot of, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, but you started doing online stuff at the age of 18.
Yes.
So how did you get involved with doing it at the age of 18? And did you lose your virginity on camera, or was it something that was a little bit more intimate for you?
No, it was intimate, but you know, in the mid to late 90s is kind of when computers were still kind of new to the general public, and especially had internet. And I think I was maybe 14 or 15 when I first got internet, and it was like America Online or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and from America Online, some way I end up learning what news groups were. I don't know if you guys remember news groups. I can't even.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if you knew exactly where to go and what to do, you were able to find a lot of adult photographs in the news groups. And that was my first introduction to what pornography was. And I would admire a lot of the naked women, and I kind of fantasized, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to be pretty. I wanted to be desirable because I was extremely shy and very nerdy, and people didn't see me that way. Mm-hmm. So you know, a few years of becoming familiar with the internet and getting familiar with the porno online. By that time, you know, I had just turned 18, and I started taking pictures of myself because I had a digital camera. Once I started to go to college, I'm studying visual arts, and you're taking boring pictures of flowers and crap like that. And I started to get curious, and I thought, well, damn it, what do I look like naked in a picture? Do I look pretty? You know, I want to know. And so I took tons and tons and tons of pictures in my bedroom, and I was still living with my mother and stepfather. And eventually I had all these pictures. They were just sitting on my computer, and I thought, what the heck? I'll create a Yahoo group, and I'll post them.
Yeah.
It was free.
Yep.
And
I remember Yahoo groups.
You know, I think it was Yahoo clubs at the time. Yeah, and that is literally where my fan base started to develop. I think that was December of '99 or something like that. And I kept in touch with people. I communicated with them. We'd have little chat sessions and things like that. And it just kind of went from there. So, you know, I didn't really get in front of the video camera for probably another year and a half. But there's a website called One Model Place, and at that time it was a free website. You could set up a profile, upload pictures of yourself, and get in contact with amateur and professional photographers to do trade for print or paid photo shoots. And so I signed up with them. Nowadays, I think you have to pay like a membership or something. It's all sophisticated, but it was really awesome back then. And I ended up doing a bunch of amateur photo shoots and, you know, some professional things, anything from fitness, body parts to some suggestive things. And it eventually gradually became adult-oriented. And I literally ended up meeting an adult photographer who shot for adult websites who wanted to shoot me, and I showed up. I did my shoot. It was a blast. I was nervous as hell. I was telling him about my fantasy of being with another woman. He just so happened to be shooting another girl later that afternoon. And he said, do you want to do your first shoot with a girl today? And I was like, no way. And he said, yeah, we're going to be here in 30 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And I thought, okay. So she shows up. She's the sweetest person in the world. We did our photo shoot. It was very light tease or whatever, nothing crazy. I was the happiest person in the world. I was so excited. I'm, like, ready to walk out the door with my bag and everything. And he's like, hey, wait. Come back. You need to come here. Sit down. He gave me a lecture. Don't you ever leave this photo shoot. I don't care what you do. Don't you ever leave without getting paid. And he hands me my check.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
I didn't know I was getting paid. I had no idea.
So were you like, oh, I can get paid for looking beautiful, basically?
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was just for girls who wanted to get naked and be pretty.
Oh my God,
that's beautiful.
You're like, that's awesome. And you're just like, I can make money off of this. Oh my God, that's a great.
I needed confirmation. Of, am I cute? Am I pretty? Am I acceptable in that avenue? Because I knew I was smart. I knew the things that I studied, but I didn't know if would the guys see me that way.
Yeah. Now, were you in relationships while you were active doing films?
Yes, most of the time, actually.
And did you ever have any bad experiences with anybody? Like, oh, I never knew you did this, blah, 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 blah,
Well, let's see. I was only with two guys during the whole time I was doing hardcore. And, I mean, one of the relationships I think was 3 years, and the other one was 4.5 years. The first one, he was my second boyfriend. My first boyfriend, we were only together for a little while. He was the one we lost our virginity to. And, He was in college or whatever, but we weren't together when I got him porn. Anyways, the first relationship I had an adult, he was very accepting to it. He was pretty cool about it. But I would say about 1.5 years into our relationship, he started to get extremely possessive. I think it was right when he started to realize that I was becoming very popular and people were kind of stopping me in places and, realizing who I am. And it was becoming difficult for him. And that put a big damper on our relationship. And eventually I ended up leaving. And that was okay. That was fine. I already knew a while back that it wasn't going to work out. So I ended up meeting another guy about 1.5 years later. And he was fantastic. Handled everything perfectly fine. Yeah, and he was about 4 years older than I was, so I think that helped.
Sure. Maturity level.
Yeah. And I think it turned him on, because literally every time I would come home from doing a shoot, and it didn't matter if it was a group shoot or whatever it was, he knew, and that made him want to have sex with me that night. It was like marking his territory.
Well, that it's funny. It's funny that I say that. And Sean and I had discussed this in the past about if a guy is by any chance feeling, I guess, a low self-esteem in his relationship or about a girl, the first thing the girl should do is tell him that she wants to fuck another guy. Because in my mind, just for me, in my mind, that's going to be like your animal instinct to no, this is my territory, and you're going to fuck her really good that night. And hopefully, if she's into it very brutally, I caught some shit the other day. I'm sure you heard about that whole bossy movement, how they're trying to ban the word bossy. I don't know if you heard about that. Some women in high positions, CEO positions, are trying to ban the word bossy. And I had made a comment to somebody on a post, and I said, whatever girl's trying to ban the word bossy, I mean, I get where she's coming from, but I don't think any of these girls have ever been violently fucked. And she's like, what do you mean? They're going to be raped? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm meaning. I don't condone rape or anything like that. I'm meaning, have you ever had your hair pulled in a nice way, or completely gagged or something like that, and it's just like, you're fucking gross. It's like, I guess they just don't get it. So
some don't, man.
Some don't, apparently. Hey Jen, we got a guy on the phone. You remember that picture I put up with the guy who had dildos taped to his face?
Yeah.
His name's Flesh Eater. He's going to come on. He has a question about porn real quick for you, so I'm going to bring him on real quick. What's up, Flesh Eater?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah?
What is happening? And then, yes,
Not
I was
much.
that guy with the tape around his face.
Very good.
Now, we have Gen Padova on the line, adult film actress, has her own website, awesome chick. What question do you have for Jen?
What question?
Yeah, you have a question. The
Oh,
screener
well,
says you want
okay. Well, what is the biggest cock that you've ever seen? Or how long would you estimate?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, you said what question, so this is the first thing, I can say. I mean, I can't. I don't know. I'm drunk.
Well, the biggest cock I've ever seen and also worked with is Mandingo. He's not only long, but he's very thick, and I would have to say, even if I were to go back into porn and do hardcore and do a scene with him, I don't think that I would be able to do that. It took quite a few years of working with various different guys of sizes to be able to somewhat work my way in with Mandingo. That was a challenge, but you know what? He was a gentleman, and he knew that he was extremely well endowed. So, he worked with you. He was good. He was good.
That's cool.
Although I will have to say, Jack Napier or Shane Diesel, they may not be as long as Mandingo, but they are thicker, and it scares the fucking shit out of me.
Oh my God.
Have you ever worked with like these newer guys that you see on like Brazzers and things like that? Like oh God, what's his name? The most famous one these days is that James Dean or Johnny Sins, guys like that just for whatever reason they always just seem to be everywhere these days simply because of the free websites that have all those clips,
I have not worked with those guys because I think they've only showed up in the last few years or so.
Yeah.
And I've seen some stuff of James Dean in previews, and I mean he's not extremely well endowed in compared to the guys that I just mentioned, but he is one of the larger guys. Although he has a certain charisma to him. He's really good at luring in the female and doing the right things that really kind of get her little spot going. That's the thing about James Dean that a lot of performers don't do. And he can get very, not just passionate, but aggressive passionate.
Sure.
Sure. Like wrapping his hand around the girl's throat and like passionately kissing her at the same time.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's like it's taking control, but in a passionate way, not a rough way like, oh, you fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. It's not.
Yeah.
And giving those nice kisses. Kissing during sex is always a great thing. Flesh Eater had a question about something about the camera thing. That's what the screener says. So what did you have questions you have about the camera thing, Flesh Eater?
Yeah, what did you see about the camera thing there, man?
The camera thing. You mean that porno I was watching last night? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you were complaining about a porno you were watching, and you had a bitch.
It's not.
I'd like to
really
get Jen's take on this.
Question, but it's not really a question, but the other last night before I went to bed, I was watching a girl-on-girl porno, and all of a sudden, of course, I was getting aroused by it. When all of a sudden, a guy from behind, I guess the director or cameraman was saying, he's like, what did you say? Like, get closer and keep your lips together a little bit longer. And Of course, my first thought was like, well, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he talking? I didn't think that people behind the camera could talk, but I'm not sure what this guy was up to.
That's poor editing. That is way poor editing. They didn't edit the audio.
Yeah, there's
there
two.
Are times like, huh?
Go ahead. Sorry, Jen.
There's times when you're in the middle of doing your actual scene, the director sometimes is the camera guy, and he'll chime in on something that he wants you to kind of include, whatever you're doing, and the editors will edit the audio so that you don't hear that, and I guess sometimes the editors don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, there's
it's
two
weird.
things
It's weird when you see that on porn, and it just takes you out of it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And they have it on. It happens on regular movie sets too. I mean, if you've ever been on a regular movie set, they'll have things like "keep going, go, 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 go," but you never see it. Like I couldn't imagine watching the Avengers or something like that. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody in the background. Robert Downey, keep talking to this animal thing. It's chasing after you. You know, horrible.
Yeah.
That is funny. I was going to say that's two things.
I was just going to say there are some directors when you're in the middle of doing a scene, the whole time they're like, yeah, fucker, you're doing great. And I'm like, really? Okay, see you later.
Now, I was going to ask you, like, how enjoyable of an experience is it? I mean, you're a performer, right? And was there ever a point in time where it just felt like, okay, got to do the job again? I mean, was it truly enjoyable? Were you truly having orgasms? I mean, obviously it's different having sex with your husband, having sex with your boyfriend. You're in love with that person. So sex when you're in love with somebody is way different. For you, right. When you were on a shoot and you know, was it just a job? I mean, did you truly enjoy it?
Well,
like,
were
you coming? You know what I mean? Like, you know, was it like, wow, I just fucking came. I just had multiples, and I came for like fucking, you know, that was like a 35-second orgasm or 2-minute orgasm, you know?
Yeah, no, I never faked an orgasm. So if it looks like I'm having one, it's real. But let's put it this way. I lost my virginity, at 20, and then 3 months later, I'm having sex on camera. So my second time having sex is literally in porn. And the majority of my sex life really is on camera. And so, I mean, I'm not a really good girl to be the one to represent most girls in porn.
Sure.
So I would have to say that, you know, porno is kind of my influence on my sexual experience, and it has some good and some bad to that. So yeah, I mean, I did enjoy all of the stuff that I did in porn because that's all I really knew, and it was also kind of an advantage because it opened a lot of avenues of just different things as far as bondage and different fetishes of varying degrees that I probably would have never had a chance to experience had I not ever gone into porn. So
sure.
I think I was very, very fortunate to get into porn, not just be naive but smart about it, and really take it for what it's worth.
It seems like you used, and this might sound not shallow, but a little bit shitty, but you used the industry and you didn't let the industry use you.
Yes.
And that's fucking awesome. I mean, there's horror stories out there, and that goes with anything. Hey, Flesh Eater, we're going to drop you off the line real quick.
Okay.
Listen closely for Flesh Eater's song, Jen, real quick.
There you go.
Here we go. We'll see you, Flesh Eater.
I'll see ya.
Ugh.
All right. That's
good old Flesh Eater.
My dick's all shitty from your asshole. Flesh Eater's the one who ate the chocolate ice cream watching Two Girls in One Cup.
Ah.
Yeah. We kind of had him do it, but not. I don't know. We say, hey, do you want to do this? He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll watch Two Girls in One Cup and eating chocolate ice cream. So he did it, and then he got really drunk that night, and he kind of had an emotional breakdown on our show, where I was talking to him, and I was like, so, hey, Flesh Eater, tell me about your first date. Tell me about your prom. He's like, my parents rented me a limo, but I went by myself. And then he goes, and I got really stoned. I smoked a lot of weed. He goes, and I just came home, and I was like, well, tell me. And he goes, well, I've never had a date. And I was like, okay. I was like, so what are you saying? He's like, well, I've never been with a chick. And I was like, oh, poor Flesh Eater. So he just, I don't know. And it's kind of funny because me and Sean were talking about this. And Sean is not, he's so unsuspecting that you would think he's a virgin because there's no reason that Sean needs to be a virgin at all, by any means.
Right.
So why are you, or why do you think you are still a virgin?
Well, I think, honestly, the first part of it, one of the main reasons initially was that, for the longest time until probably the last couple of years, I was really overweight. And I've got this feeling, I had this feeling in my head that, like, there's no woman that would, I'm kind of a picky guy, like, I kind of like petite, beautiful women like that. And being a fat slob, I'm like, there's no way.
He likes the Gen Padovas of the world.
The Gen Padovas, the Aja, Akiras, things like that of the world. Just petite, beautiful little things, and but I'm a fat slob, or I used to be a fat slob.
You're so harsh on yourself.
Well, I'm my biggest critic. That's just kind of how I've always been, and so that kind of that shyness kind of went in. As far as things go right now, it's been so long never having it that it's just not something that I pursue or even think about. I'm more into like just my own stuff instead of things like that. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. If you've never tried it or if you've never had it, what are you missing unless you've So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
I kind of I understand that, not obviously with the sex part, but I understand that, say, with like recreational drugs. I've never tried any of it. I've never tried pot. I've never been curious about it. So if it's something that I've never done before, then how can I really like have that desire to really want to try it? And it's kind of funny, but people ask, like, didn't you have peer pressure? Well, it's, maybe a few people here and there, but I wasn't really that interested. But at the same time, if you're so nerdy and nobody really gives you the time of day and you're a loner, how are you going to get peer pressure too? So I didn't really have much peer pressure. And so if I've never experienced it, then how could I even want it? And I get that. I totally get that. It makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. We talk about it. It's weird. Me and Sean have a weird dynamic on our show. Sean kind of laughs that I'm pretty good friends. We're still in least talking terms with a lot of the women I've slept with in my life, and we've had quite a few call the show as well. We had the first girl that I ever slept with call the show, and that was just an interesting, funny story because it shows me about it showed me for the dog that I was back then in a weird way. Like, a guy will do anything to get laid at the age of 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? It's just fucking hilarious. Couple things before we wanted to get into some food talk with you because we're both like food heads. We love food. We were talking a little bit earlier. We were talking a little about my jogging shoe fetish.
Yes. And
I don't know where it came from, but I think I do. Here's the thing: when I was sleeping, me and this girl were having sex. We were sleeping together, and we were in high school, and we would always have to like fuck before like her mom came home, right? So we had this routine where after school got out, we would go to the gym. And so after the gym, like, I would drop off at her house, but it was like 45 minutes until her mom got home. So being, you know, a teenager, this is something you had to do. So it was like, okay, just pull my sweats down. I'll leave my shoes on. And, you know, while we were fucking, like, her shoes would, like, dig into whatever. And I don't know why, like, socks and jogging shoes just totally got me into it. It just made me rock hard, and that's the only thing I could take it back to. It's just an odd thing. And it's not like I want to come on a girl's jogging shoes. You know, there's guys who want to come on that stuff, so it's not that. But I think that's where it came from.
I think that makes sense too, because there's a lot of things that, I mean, granted, even though I only had sex one time with my first boyfriend, and he was kind of like a best friend of mine, and we still keep in contact every so often. But there's a lot of things that we connected on even before we had sex, and then the stuff that we connected on sexually before we had sex, and all that stuff that has carried into what I like sexually and intellectually today.
Wow, that's cool. Well, it does carry over. That's what they call, you know, not necessarily being around the block, but it's being experienced, and it's learning about yourself. You know, I do know, and I don't even know where this takes. I cannot stand my nipples touched at all. Like, get off my nipples. There's nothing. There's people I know that like their nipple. Like me, I'm like, no, leave them alone. It's just uncomfortable, and it's not like. It's not gay. It's not a gay thing. It's just like, I just don't like my nipple. It's just an uncomfortable feeling to me. It just doesn't feel good. Like, and so, you know, obviously women's nipples are very sensitive, and I have guy friends who are like, oh, you don't like your chick to pinch your nipples? Like, no, get off of them. Get away from them. Now, if she wants to tie my cock up with her shoelace, that's a different thing. You know, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, because it's connected to the tennis shoes.
Yeah, see? Oh my God! You just blew my mind.
It triggers that it literally puts on that switch. It is in association with, you know, your girlfriend at the time wearing the gym shoes. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, just make your shoelaces into a noose and just, you know, tie it up and pull it tight and suck on it and do what you got to do. Just don't fuck with my balls. I don't like my balls fucked with, and they're just sensitive. Like, even like slapping, it's like, my balls. Like, I could never be a porn star. My balls would never, like, there's no way. They're just too sensitive. Yeah. It could be because I had a botched vasectomy. That could be because of it too, though.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what you have with the tennis shoes with your girlfriend is kind of similar to what I have as far as with my first boyfriend. We were probably having oral sex for a year before we even actually had sex. I mean, we were very creative. I would dress up and all that stuff, not necessarily role play, but I was so into giving blowjobs to him, and that it was to the point that I would instantly, like, literally within the first minute of giving him head, I'm like soaking fucking wet. And it's crazy because if I have sex and there's no me giving head to the guy first, then I'm not as wet down there. And it takes a little while of trying to get it in me and get me wet and going. Doesn't mean that I'm not turned on. It just so happens to be that way. Yeah. But as soon as you put a cock in my mouth, and it only takes literally probably 30 seconds to a minute, I'm instantly wet, and it'll just go in easy, no big deal. And it's all because I think of that.
It's weird. Like, it's a whole brain chemistry thing. I think it's just something you're doing something, you know, nasty, and like you said, I mean, it goes back to when you originally used to have oral sex before you had regular sex. For me personally, I can eat pussy. Like, I could eat my wife's pussy. I can eat her pussy for a half hour, and I can make her come. I can use my hands. We can pull out the vibrator, whatever. But I don't have to come. Like, I don't. It's so weird. I don't have to come. Like, it doesn't.
Right.
I could just eat her pussy and say, oh, I'm tired or whatever. Did you enjoy that? Like I'm a giver, I guess you could say, not a taker. But you know, yeah. But then sometimes my dick gets so hard, it's like dripping sap out, so I gotta put it in her.
Yeah.
So my wife actually did have a question. So I said, hey, I'm interviewing Jen, and she's just like, okay, well, who is she? I said, well, she's an adult film actress, and she's really cool. So what we could do, what she wanted me to do is pull a video up of yours. So I pulled up a video, and I went to a website, one of the tube sites or whatever, and I pulled a video up. And it was a video of you blowing 3 guys. And she's like, how the fuck does she get that gag reflex? Like, she has no gag reflex. Is that something you developed over time?
No. No. I'm so glad you asked these questions. People don't really ask this stuff. Okay. I wondered the same fucking thing, too. Because it wasn't until porn when I realized that I saw some girls that actually did have a gag reflex, and they would stop and tell the cameraman and say, like, I can't handle that, like, it's going to make me throw up. And they're like, it's okay, if you throw up, we'll just cut it out. And she was like, well, I don't want to throw up. So it kind of blew me away. I'm like, wow, I don't have that problem. That's kind of cool. You got this girl is doing porn and doesn't realize that there's such a thing as, like, a gag reflex like that when it comes to giving a guy a head. And I'm totally fascinated by the differences of the two. And so enough time goes by, and I kid you not, one day I go visit my mom, and I'm like, Mom, okay, I got to ask you a question here. She knows I was doing porn.
Oh, cool.
And I said, I said, you don't have to answer this question, but I said, do you have a gag reflex? Because I've noticed that I don't, and I'm realizing some girls do. And I just thought, like, is this normal? Am I weird? Is this like a genetic thing? Like, does my mom have the same thing? And she just starts laughing her ass off, and she's like, it might just run in the family because I don't have a gag reflex either. And I'm like, so you're telling me that you don't mind doing blowjobs and you like it and it's okay? And she's like, oh my God, I love it. She's like, it turns me on, it gets me wet and everything. I'm like, oh my God, that's how I did it now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
Did it make you feel uncomfortable to talk about sex with your mom, or did it make you feel? How did that conversation go when you told her that you were doing adult films?
No, I'm very much like her in the sense that we really, I think, we just don't have a filter.
There you go.
I don't know, but it's an interesting dynamic with the family. I don't know if it's a cultural thing because they're Italian and it doesn't matter what you talk about. It's just a no shame, no filter kind of thing.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it is kind of and that's cool. I mean, it's kind of fun that you say that. We were talking earlier. My wife was like, "Hey, would you ever go to a titty bar with one of your sons?" Somebody made a comment on Facebook. I had put a picture up of one of my sons. We went and saw a movie, and I said, "Guess where we're at?" And some guy goes, he's like, "Getting call girls," and I'm like, "Dude, he's 8 years old." So, so I said, my wife's like, "Could you ever take your son to a hooker? Or could you ever take your older boys? Because I have 2 stepsons that are 20 and 21. Could you ever take them to the titty bars or anything like that?" And I'm like, I don't think I could. It would just be a little odd for me. It's like my father-in-law, when we got married, said, "How about an invite to the bachelor party?" And I'm like, no, that's not a line I'm crossing. I'm sorry. I couldn't even go to a titty bar with my father. Uncomfortable to see tits in his face. I don't see my dad in that. I don't see my dad in that light or my mom in that light. So I think I fall under one of those. You just don't want to hear your parents have sex or anything like that. You knew they were having sex because the door was locked at night. But I mean, you just, I don't know. I couldn't do it for myself. Now, when you look at Sean's parents, I can't even believe that they had sex.
Oh wow! Way to. Yeah, very religious parents, very you know. But you know what, though, dude, you know, you don't know too much about. My parents were like actors living out in Hollywood during the hippie movement and stuff. So they've got a past that that they don't talk about. That I'm not so sure if I want to know everything about. You know what I mean? Like it's during those times. It's. But yeah, here they are, 5 kids. You know, it's a crazy.
Maybe they had sex 5 times.
Well, I'll ask.
I don't know.
I'll ask them.
I don't know if it made a difference for me, but I know from a young age, and my half sisters noticing as well. I think they were probably like, oh God, they had to been.
Hello. Oh.
Bedroom and saying, Jen, come here. I'm like, what? And they're like, do you hear that noise? What is that? And I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, like from a young age, you could hear your own mother like having sex with your dad. He was my stepdad, and it was their father. But I mean, yeah, it was kind of awkward, and I had to tell them, well, you know, they're making love, they're having sex, and they're like, oh, ew, oh my God, that's what it sounds like. And but it's like, God, like I can't lie to them, you know, and so it was kind of a normal thing that we heard, and by the time we became of age enough to talk about it, we would start making fun of them, like, yeah, we heard you over there, you're so loud.
I did have an experience like that with one of my kids when he was like maybe 4, where me and my wife would wrestle, or I would tickle her. And be like, Daddy, stop tickling Mom, because she would laugh or she would make loud noises. And then I think the next day he's like, I heard you tickling Mom last night. And I was just like, oh, yeah, don't tickle Mom. I was like, oh, okay, I got you, buddy. Like I totally knew what he was talking about. Hey, we got Charles on the line. He wants to ask you a question about your favorite color. Hey, what's up, Charles? Welcome to the AndroidVirus and Sean Show. You got a question for Jen?
Yeah, I was kind of like, it's the lamest question on the planet, but I figured that's the only thing that could come to mind instantly, so I figured I'd ask you.
Go ahead.
My favorite color. You know, it's hard. It's hard to just pick one color. Like I'm a lover of all things, of all races, of all everything, food and everything like that. And to me, like those are colors too. So it's hard to say, but I would have to say, if anything, earth tones, browns, grays, beiges, that kind of stuff, like olive green. I like every color. I don't know. I appreciate color. I love sunlight and color and vibrance and things like that.
You would look at a Vincent Van Gogh painting, right? You'd like to stare at it.
Yeah, it's mesmerizing. Yeah. I don't know, anything that will evoke an emotion to help me feel alive and everything. I love that. And even more so today, since I had the stroke, colors are far more vibrant and actually have like what do you call it, like an orb around them when they're really bright. And I remember realizing that shortly after the stroke and being in complete awe about it, but my sight was so sensitive. I had to wear sunglasses even indoors for a while, and but I was so fascinated by it. And even today, if I'm outside and it's really sunny, and I see like a bright red, like cherry red car drive by, it's almost like it's glowing, like in heaven or something, and it's so freaking cool. So even more today, I love color, any kind of color.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. Hey, well, thanks for calling, Charles. We appreciate it, man. Keep listening to the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, you take care, man. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, so real quick, we're going to start more. Got about another couple of minutes with you. We wanted to ask you how you got into your food blogging real quick, and you're not a vegetarian, you're just totally into food.
I just love food.
Yes.
Well, I
love food,
yeah, I loved your your food blog is notwithoutspice.com. And you got some awesome recipes, and I'm a foodie. Sean's a foodie, or are you, Sean? Yeah,
well,
you like food?
I definitely am. I was, former fat guy. I still have my problem is with like sweets. And I was looking at some of that stuff. I saw the thing you had on there, that strawberry banana smoothie thing, but then I saw Greek yogurt and I immediately went yuck.
No, don't say yuck. Don't say yuck. You don't put a whole lot in there. It just makes it creamy. You won't even taste it. I promise.
Okay, I might give it a shot, because every time I've tried Greek yogurt, it feels like I'm eating like Elmer's glue paste, something like that in my mouth.
Oh yeah, you gotta find like a really good brand. Like it's called like a brand called Fage, Fage. They're a really good brand, and if you want to, you can do like half of what the recipe calls for, and just kind of start off with that way if you want to. It just adds like a decadence, a creaminess to it, so it doesn't feel or taste too healthy. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Hey, Jen, real quick, is there anything that you want to promote right now or plug?
That's a good question. I never think about those things. I think most importantly, I'm putting out a lot of new exclusive stuff on my website. I did an awesome photo shoot for St. Patrick's Day last month that you guys probably don't want to miss. It has a great video to it. I fucked myself with a Guinness bottle.
Yes!
In the photo shoot, I'm drinking green beer and getting naughty and things like that outside under a rainbow. I'm really getting into the creative side and fulfilling a really fun fantasy aspect of things that I've always wanted to kind of do. So
awesome.
You don't want to miss it. My website is genpadova.com. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then we have genriser.com, Twitter at Gen Padova. We got about a minute left with you, but we got one final question here from Jeremy, and he has a question about group sex. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, I was just wondering, besides like the acting or in your personal life, are you into like group sex or swapping at all, like in a relationship wise?
I have never experienced that before. It's so hard to meet people that are really into that without I think like getting emotionally confused. Some people kind of jump the gun and think like, oh my God, like is there something between us? Like I just saw sparks, and then they start to get attached, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, we were just having fun. So it's really hard to find people that can kind of separate the two and just enjoy the time. So I haven't experienced that, but in porn, I would have to say, because I don't play a character. I'm just being me and having fun with sex with people and soaking it in. I have to say it's a really incredible experience to just kind of experience both of the best worlds of female and male, and different size of penises back and forth, and just knowing how each person tastes and things like that. If you're open-minded, then it can be a fantastic experience. If you're skeptical, then it might be a little scary. I don't know. I love it.
Very cool. All right, Jeremy, thanks for calling, brother. Thanks for the question.
No problem.
All right.
Bye. Love you.
All right. Jen, again, you can follow Jen at G Padova on Twitter, website GenRiser or genpadova.com, food blog Not Without Spice. Jen, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. You're an fucking awesome person. You're the sweetest, most awesome person, and I hope it was as good for you as it was for us.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you. And we hope to have you on again anytime that you'd like, all right?
Definitely. Sounds good. You guys have a good weekend.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Jen. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.